Good evening and welcome to the April 27th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Nguyen, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Number one on the agenda, please.
Minutes for our meeting of April the 6th, 2017.
Commissioner Krieger.
Move approval.
Move approved by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Commissioner, now take up number 2 on the meeting agenda, applications for public amusement licenses. Carnival, Dean and Flynn, Inc., doing business as the Fiesta Shows of Seabrook, New Hampshire. John A. Flynn is the representative. For events at the Welcome Festival Field at 381-501 Pawtucket Boulevard. Fiesta Shows Carnival will begin on Wednesday, May the 24th, 2017, to Saturday, May 27th, 2017, and also include a Sunday and Monday, May 29th. The Wednesday to Friday hours would be 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday and Monday the Saturday and the Monday hours will be 12 noon to 11 p.m. Also, Fiesta Shows Carnival is proposing to host and promote a carnival in September, starting with Thursday, September 7th, 2017, to Saturday, September 9th, 2017. The Thursday to Friday hours would be 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday hours are 12 noon to 11 p.m. There will also be a Sunday as well in this scheduled carnival.
Good evening. State your name for the record, sir.
Good evening, members of the commission. I'm John Flynn. I'm the president of Dean and Flynn, Inc., out of Seabrook, New Hampshire, doing business as Fiesta Shows.
How many years, Mr. Flynn?
27 years, sir.
27. Congratulations. Fantastic. Good for you. Deputy Superintendent Webb, any issues that we may have with Mr. Flynn's operation?
No, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Flynn always runs a great operation. We've never had any trouble.
Thank you, sir. Comments from the board? Move for approval. Oh, Mr. McCarthy.
On the second carnival, where is that going to be located?
Also over at Regatta Field or Welcome Field, same location
Thank you.
for both events.
Any further comments? No. Motion on the floor by Commissioner Krieger to approve, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Mr. Flynn, do a great job.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Proceeding with number 4 on the meeting agenda, we have applications for a special one-day license to sell, dispense all alcoholic beverages, starting with Ed Jenningsak of the Holy Trinity Parish for an event at the Parish Hall, 330 High Street. This will be the Parish Dance, Sunday, April 30th, 2017, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Also, we have Wilfred Jha of the Bisongabang Elites Development Organization for an event at the UTEC at 35 Warren Street. This event will be Saturday, May 20th, 2017, from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Are both applicants here?
I am.
Yeah. Come on up, sir, please. Thank you. If you both state your names for the record, please.
My name is Edward Janacek. I'm from Holy Trinity Church.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Wilfred Njat. Thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Janizek, you've held this license before, sir?
Yes,
Yep.
last year.
Last year, you were the manager of record?
Yes,
Okay. And Mr. Najjar, have you held this license before, sir?
Yes, sir. I
You have. All right. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Gentlemen, good luck with your events.
thank you.
All right.
Commission will now proceed with number 5 on the meeting agenda. There are applications for special one-day license to sell, dispense malt beverages and wines only, or either one, starting with George S. Zaharoulis, who is president of the Holy Trinity Hellenic Orthodox Church, for an enclosed outdoor area on Worthing Street, adjacent to the Hellenic American Academy at 41 Broadway. This will be the Greek Festival, Friday, May 19th, 2017, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Also for Saturday, May 20th, from 12 noon to 11 p.m. And Sunday, May 21st, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Should I proceed with the other applicants?
Please.
And we also have Joanne Gumby of Gormley's Cafe at 139 East Merrimack Street. This will be a Mother's Day fundraiser for ovarian cancer for Sunday, May 14, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then there is Nathan Kilbride of the Lowell Firefighters Association for an fence-enclosed area outside of the club premises at 362, 364 Fletcher Street. This will be the Lowell Firefighters Road Race for Sunday, June 4th, 2017, from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Everybody state their name for the record, please.
George Zaharoulis with the Holy Trinity Church.
Good
of
evening,
Lowell.
sir.
Joanne Gunby with Gormley's Cafe in Lowell.
How are you, Joanne?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Nathan Kilbride, Lowell Firefighters Association.
Hey, Nate, how you been?
Good.
Good, good. All right, I know Mr. Zaharoulis has held these licenses before. Joanne, have you held this license before?
Yes, we did a St. Patrick's Day event.
Oh, that's right, you did, that's right. All right. And Nate, have you held this license before?
I have.
You have. Questions or comments from the board? Move for approval by Commissioner Donahue. Seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck with all your events.
Good luck, guys.
Proceeding with page 2 on the meeting agenda, is Michelle Addo here? Michelle? Michelle Addo has also applied for a special one-day license for malt beverages and wine only, or either one, for her wedding reception to be held at the UTEC at 35 Warren Street for Saturday, September 9, 2017, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, I'm sorry. State your name for the record, please.
Michelle Addo.
How are you, Michelle?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Have you held a license before for the city? You have not?
No.
Have you spoken with Ms. Secretary Wynn? Any questions or comments that you may have?
I
You
have.
understand your responsibilities of this license?
Yep.
You do? Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Michelle, good luck with the event.
Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner now proceed with the applications filed by Patricia Donahue of Gallery Z at 167 Market Street. Her first request is to amend a license that was granted on March 23rd, 2017. That was the Earth Mother Artist Reception. She's requesting to amend the date from this Saturday, April 29th, through Saturday, May 6, 2017, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. She's also filed applications for Mother's Day brunch on Sunday, May 14th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. The Night of Music with David Warren for Saturday, May 20th, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Brunch with Steve Clements for Sunday, May 28th, from 12 noon to 2 p.m. The Art Opening Reception Origins for Saturday, June 3rd, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And her last application is for Artist Reception Reflections number 2, Saturday, June 24th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
State your name for the record.
Patricia Donahue.
How are you tonight, Patricia?
Very good.
You're good. All right, good. All right. Pretty straightforward. Commissioners, any comments? Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. That's also to amend the date, Commissioner Krieger.
Yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Patricia, good luck with your events.
Commission will now proceed with application filed by Gabby Davis for Made in Lowell. These are for special one-day malt beverage and wine only, or either one. Starting with the Mill Yard for 193 Jackson Street for Friday nights, Friday, May 12th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. An event at the Lucy Larkin Park and Marketplace for Friday, May 19th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Humanity Style at 128 Merrimack Street for Wine and Wander for Saturday, May 20th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sweet Lydia's at 160 Merrimack Street for Wine and Wander, Saturday, May 20th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'll Stamp Visual Solutions, 142 Middle Street, Wine and Wonder, Saturday, May 20th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The Flour Mill at 183 Dutton Street for Wine and Wonder, Saturday, May 20th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The All Gallery, 307 Market Street. Again, the event is Wine and Wonder, Saturday, May 20th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Then we follow up with the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street for Friday nights, Friday, June 9th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. again at the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street for Friday nights, Friday, July 14th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street for Friday nights, Friday, August 11th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we continue at the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street for Friday nights, Friday, October 13th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the last event scheduled for the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street will be the Lowell Oktoberfest for Saturday, October 14th, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Good evening, state your name for the record.
Gabby Davis, Maiden Lowell.
Hi, Gabby.
Hello.
Got a lot going on here.
Yes, I do.
All right. I was just checking out some of the configurations here. Deputy Superintendent Webb, any concerns with any of these events, sir?
Excuse me. Yes, Mr. Chairman. The superintendent has some questions about the May 20th event.
Proceed.
There's 5 separate locations that are going to be licensed at the same time, and there's some question as to whether or not it's proper to issue a one-day license for 5 different locations to the same licensee all at the same time. Certainly, that issue obviously is up to the commission, but the main objection that we have is judging from a permit that's been filed for at the same time, it appears that the participants in this activity might be wandering through the downtown area from one location to another with alcoholic beverages from each location, and that is something that we would object to.
Gabby, can you alleviate the Deputy Superintendent's concerns?
Yes, I can. This is the same footprint as the craft beer walk, except a wine tasting. So inside the retail locations, we are hosting a winery, and there'll be different wines available. Similar to the craft beer walk, they will be samples only. So this is a samples only event. People will walk to and from each location and sample inside only. And just like the craft beer walk we did, it is smaller this year. We're testing this upon feedback and requests from our event attendees from the craft beer walk that they'd like to see a wine tasting this year.
Superintendent Webb?
So they won't be going between locations? with alcohol?
Absolutely not. There'll be no alcohol on the streets.
That was the main concern with this, as far as whether or not you want to license 5 different locations and to the same person at the same time. That's
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's up to you.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Donahue?
Could you give us a quick rundown of what Made in Lowell is?
Absolutely.
I know you've been here before and we've approved licenses, but I think when we're talking something like this, 5 licenses, maybe we ought to know, I ought to know a little more.
Absolutely. Made in Lowell is an economic and community development 501c3 nonprofit. We've been doing community events for the last 3 years. We transform beautiful urban landscapes into fun and memorable occasions, connecting people and places in Lowell. And we do that by connecting our small business community, our nonprofit community, and our community members together through a series of fun community events.
You have a board of directors?
We do.
And you are, your position?
I am the CEO of Made in Lowell.
CEO, okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Howe? Commissioner McCarthy?
No questions.
Do you have a motion on the, Commissioner Krieger, sorry.
So, we've talked about the May 20th event, but you've got 5 wine and wander events. So, are we issuing multiple licenses for each of those 5 for various locations?
Yes, similar to the craft beer walk where I have 18 locations. You have required me in the past to hold 18 separate licenses for each location. So I applied similarly to the craft beer walk for the wine and wander event.
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gabby, always do a good job over there. Continue success.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Commission will now proceed with number 6 on our meeting agenda, which are applications for special events permit for amplified outdoor public entertainment. George S. Zaharoulis of the Holy Trinity Hellenic Orthodox Church has filed for special events permit for sound system, for live music, DJ, for the Greek Festival at an enclosed outdoor area on Worthing Street adjacent to the Hellenic American Academy at 41 Broadway. Friday, May 19th, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, May 20th, from 12 noon to 11 p.m., and Sunday, May 21st, 2017, from 12 noon to 6 p.m.
Secretary Wynn, can I just don't want Mr. Zaharoulis to stand for very long. We'll take his by himself right now.
Okay.
State your name for the record, sir.
George Zaharoulis with
Mr.
the...
Zaharoulis, and you've held this license for quite a few times, right?
Yes.
Will you be inviting Commissioner McCarthy to do any line dancing?
I think he should be there to lead it.
To lead it?
Yes.
All
Will you
right.
be playing any instruments, Mr. Zaroulis, this year?
I will play if you'll dance.
I'm going to make a motion to approve, then, absolutely. Seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Special events permits are filed also by Gabby Davis of Made in Lowell for live music. Starting with the Friday nights from May 12th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Mill Yard at 193 Merrimack Street. Is that right? No, 193 Jackson Street.
We'll make a motion to amend that. Don't worry. You're fine. State your name for the record.
Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Wanna-
there's a number of other
All right,
applications.
Go ahead, right. Yep.
And starting again with the Marketplace, this is all Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell. Marketplace, May 19th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Lucy Larkin Park. Friday nights, June 9th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street. Friday nights, July 14th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street. Friday nights, August 11th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Mill Yard, 193 Jackson Street. Friday nights, October 13th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street. And last but not least, the Lowell Oktoberfest, October 14th, 12 noon to 8 p.m., the Mill Yard at 193 Jackson Street.
Mr. Chairman, I move we amend the agenda, striking Merrimack Street and replacing with Jackson Street in item number 6, the third set, Gabby Davis.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Deputy Superintendent Webb, any concerns here?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Gabby.
Goodbye.
Have a good night.
Proceeding with number 7 on our meeting agenda, which is page 3 of 3, we have a public hearing on the application filed for new officers and directors for the Holy Ghost Society, Inc., doing business as Holy Ghost Society, the all-alcoholic beverages club licensee for premises at 65 Village Street. It is requested a change of manager of record to Dahlia M. Martins of Lowell.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners. Karen Simeo, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. To my right, Ms. Dahlia Martins, who is the proposed manager of record.
Good evening, ladies. All yours, Counselor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The application before you is relatively straightforward in that there is no change in the day-to-day operation at the Holy Ghost Society. There was an election of some new officers, and so we're here to update the record. Ms. Kamada, as is reflected here, will remain as president and director, with Ms. Martins coming on as treasurer, director, and proposed manager of record. Lisa Souza as clerk and director, and Mr. João Martins as director.
Ms. Martins, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in the liquor business?
As Ms. Mayo just said, I recently become a board member, a board director. I'm the treasurer. I have partaken of many events there as helping out and so on and so forth. And I have assisted a couple of times in the bar with serving and with cleaning up and so on and so forth.
And
Ms. Samayo, does Ms. Martin completely understands the rules and regulations of the Lowell License Commission?
Yes, and she has read both the rules and regulations of this board as well as the ABCC. And as the board knows, this is a entirely volunteer organization. So Ms. Martins, like myself, was born and raised going in the United States, but spending time at Holy Ghost Society over the years, and is certainly familiar with the operation there.
But no background in the liquor business?
There's no specific background in the liquor business, no. We don't typically hire an outside manager or anything like that. We do keep it in-house and do the training from one board to the next.
I'll open it up. Questions to the board? Commissioner Krieger.
Yes, has Ms. Martins been tip certified, or is she planning on being in the future?
She is in the process of getting her tip certification.
Anything further? No. Do I have a motion on the floor?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Howell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Martins, big responsibility?
Yes.
Okay? You understand that, right?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayo.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you would be kind enough, the board would be kind enough to go back to our beginning of the meeting agenda. An applicant has just arrived, and I know we have other pressing matters to deal with, so.
I would say that'd be fine, and I'd also like to take agenda items number 10 and 11 out of order before number 9.
Okay.
And before 8 and 9, if we could. Mr. Syverson, come on up here.
Applications for special one-day license to dispense wines only have been filed by Steve Syverson, who's president of the Arts League of Lowell at 307 Market Street. There's artist reception for Gates Block Artists at Sunday, May 7th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Artist reception for Brothers Lichtenstein, a working title, Saturday, June 3rd, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Artist reception Exposed 2017 for Shadow Play, Saturday, July 15th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Artist reception Fiber and Fashion, Saturday, August 26th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Artist reception, it's primarily secondary, purple, orange, green, for Saturday, October 21st, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the artist reception Holiday Treasures for Saturday, December 9th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Commissioner Krieger, can you take over for a minute, please?
Yes.
I have an emergency call.
Please state your name and address.
Steve Severson, 269 Dutton Street.
Thank you. And you've been here before, right?
Many times. And my apologies, I set my alarm wrong for 6:30 instead of 6.
I've done that myself. Deputy Superintendent Webb, has there ever been any problems with this?
No concerns.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have a question? I hear move for approval. Second. Commissioner Donahue, Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor say aye. Opposed? It passes. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Be good.
Proceeding with number 9 on our meeting agenda.
What I'm sorry.
For the moment.
I'm confused, but I'm okay. Let's go to number 9.
So we're looking at page 3 of 3 on the agenda, and this is going to number 9, temporarily going to skip over to number 8. So the number 9 is a communication from the Superintendent of Police, William M. Taylor, to the License Commission dated April 19, 2017, alleging misconduct by LD Holdings LLC, doing business as Revolution. Sean Bryan is the manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 74 Merrimack Street.
When is our next meeting?
It will be May 11th, and then we meet again on June 1st.
I think we should move that we have it at our next meeting, for hearing at our next meeting.
All right. Motion for 11 May, second? Second by Commissioner Howe. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Yes, we'll hear that on the 11th of May.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. That's a good point. All right.
Number 10 on our meeting agenda, an application has been filed by Rizzo's Lowell, Inc., George A. Rizopoulos, President, for malt beverages and wine only restaurant license for premises at 129, 131 East Merrimack Street, 4 rooms, 4 entrances, 4 exits, indoor area 3,277 square feet. It is requested that George Rizopoulos be approved as manager of record for Rizzo's Lowell, Inc. Rizzo's Lowell, Inc. has filed applications for a license for common vittler and for automatic amusement device. Mr. Chair, Chairman, Commissioner Krieger, members of the commission, I respectfully ask the commission to consider holding a public hearing on this matter of application for the meeting of Thursday, June 1st, 2017 at 6 p.m. This application does require a legal notice to be published. It's an application for an original license for malt beverages and wine only for restaurant. A legal notice would need to be published. There is also a matter that I need to deal with, address with the principal in this application, and respectfully request that the commission.
All right, so our executive secretary would like to address this on our meeting on the 1st of June, which would be convenient for us because we're having a public hearing on 11 May. Do I hear a motion?
Move for a public hearing on June 1st.
Second.
Terry McCarthy seconds. Commissioner Donahue's motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Thank you.
I now turn the gavel back over to our chairman, still having to do number 8 and 11 and 12.
Thank you. Let's take number 11.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, thank you. There's an application filed by the New Olympia Restaurant, Inc. Konstantinos Kokelis is the manager of record for all alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 453, 457, 471 Market Street. The licensee is looking for alteration of premises to add to its licensed premises a patio and an outdoor, and part of the outdoor parking lot that's on private property, which would be a total of 1,368 square feet. If the commission would be so kind to ratify the publication of a legal notice for tomorrow's morning's paper for Friday, April 29th, for a hearing to be held on the next meeting, which would be Thursday, May 11th at 6 p.m. This does require the applicant to notify abutters, and there is a church within 500 feet as well as a school within 500 feet, also to be notified by the applicant.
Motion by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner Howell to ratify for the public hearing at the next meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. And stepping back to number 8, we have hearings on allegations of misconduct as charged by William M. Taylor, the Superintendent of Police. Communications to the License Commission, each of which are dated April 3rd, 2017. The first hearing is for LD Holdings LLC, doing business as Revolution. Sean Bryan is the manager of record, all alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 74 Merrimack Street.
Good evening, Councilor. State your name for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commerce. Attorney Eli Louise on behalf of Revolution and Bar 74. Mr. Chairman, if I may.
You may.
May I approach?
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just give us a moment, Council.
Sure.
Commissioners need any more time? That's it?
Yeah, I need
Joe?
just another second.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
The city has a number of witnesses here and some documentary evidence that would like to submit to the commission before deliberation takes place on what remedy should result. So if you would allow me to proceed.
Floor's yours.
Thanks. If you look at the correspondence from the City of Lowell's Chief of Police to LD Holdings LLC DBA Revolution, the city is charging that organization with violating Chapter 138, Section 34 of the Massachusetts General Laws for selling or delivering alcoholic beverage to a person under 21 years of age in violation of that statute, and also violation of 204 CMR 2.052. I plan to call several witnesses to support these allegations. First, two police officers, Officer Belanger and Detective Coughlin. I also plan to call Kathleen Bossy and one of her friends whose name escapes me at the moment. What is it? Kelsey Blood, thank you. Who are eyewitnesses to the events that are alleged. I'm going to address these, the two allegations against, I realize that there are two organizations before you, two allegations against two different organizations before you. I plan to address them sort of together because they arise out of the same incident. Are against LD Holdings LLC. So if I could call Officer Belanger. Is he available? He is.
State your name for the record, sir.
Bernard Belanger, police officer with Lowell Police Department.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Officer Belanger. On March 24th, 2017, were you on duty?
I was.
Did you respond to a missing person call?
Yeah, I did.
Can you tell me what happened?
Received a call approximately about around 0400 hours for the downtown bar located at 76 Merrimack Street. Arrived on scene, saw nobody outside. The report was called for a female that was possibly on premise. Several of the units backed me up. We were able to make entry to the premise via two on-staff cleaning crew, one female, one male. We checked the premise. There was no female on the premise. We checked the downstairs and the adjacent upstairs location at 74 Merrimack Street.
So you said did you search bar 74 and Revolution, both of them?
Correct.
Did you speak with anyone at bar 74?
We did, just the two on-staff cleaners, both which were spoke broken English, but did not see anybody that had been at that bar since they arrived on scene, which was approximately about an hour prior. So around 03, they said they arrived to clean, and we were there around approximately 0400 hours, and they said they'd seen nobody since.
So you said that there were two people that were there, and you spoke to them, and they said that they hadn't seen anyone. Is that right?
Correct.
I have, and I guess I'll have to bring it over to you. I have a general police business report. It's number 2017-0005363A. I feel like I'm calling bingo. I was just wondering if you could authenticate it for me.
Correct, yes, this is my report.
I'm just going to ask you to authenticate, this is supplement 3 to that report.
Correct. This is a supplement to that report.
I apologize. Mr. Chairman, I apologize for ease of noting objections and cross-examination. Should I take one of the seats there, or do you want me to just interject and come into the podium?
I don't have a problem you sitting there.
Sure, thank you. In regards to this police report, we did not receive this police report. I would suggest that part of having a fair hearing is to have documents presented in advance. I would object to it being presented this time. I certainly would not object for it presented at a later date, but I haven't taken a look at it until today.
Counsel? Were they not given a copy?
This appears to me to be attached to the letter to LD Holdings, DBA dated April 13th. It states enclosure.
Good, continue.
I guess that's a question for the secretary. Was this police report included in their letter?
I have copies of both the letters here if you'd like to examine them.
Ryan, were they given copies? Was counsel given copies? Were they sent copies of the police report?
The notice of hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you receive that?
If I may clarify, what council is referring to is actually a supplement police report that seems to be drafted at a later date. We received a police report, but there's a supplemental police report which typically can be amended or supplied. That new police report was not provided to us, and I'm looking at it for the first time. We have no chance to look at it or prepare.
Deputy Superintendent Webb?
It is included here in your letter that you just handed to me. It's this supplement number 3. It's, I mean, you can tell it's...
Which one did you just show to anyone up there?
Mr. Chairman, on my copies that I have, I don't have the supplement number 3 on the letter for Revolution at 74 Merrimack Street, but letter from the License Commission to Mr. Healy regarding Bar 74 Lounge and Grill dated the same date, supplement number 3 is included.
So did we get a copy or we did not?
We did not get the number 3 supplement.
It's in the packet that he just handed to me. It is in the packet that he just handed to me.
Again, I apologize if it's my confusion. So,
Well, let them deal with this first.
This is a letter dated April 13th to LD Holdings, DBA Bar 74.
yep.
Do you have that?
So which was the
This
two
is-
packets I just handed to you?
So this is this one. And we turn to the very first police report in this packet. You will find one by Officer Belanger.
So I just took a look at the police report and looked at it. And again, I apologize if it's my confusion. So you're saying this police report, this,
This is the same as this one here. Yes?
that's the same one. Is this the correct one? Let's see here. So, which one was he testing? This one. Let's see here. Yeah, I apologize, I made something nobody showed up.
It looks like it might have been left off this one.
Yeah,
For Revolution of 74 Merrimack Street, but the same date for
I see what you're saying.
74
So it was left
Lounge and
off.
Grill.
So,
It
okay.
is included in that.
So it was included in the second
So,
pack.
so the same day you did have it, it just might not have been in copies.
All right, so it looks like one of the packets was included, not the other one. So it's-
I'm just wondering if we're looking at just a bit of confusion between two establishments and two different complaints here. Am I on the right track here?
Yes, we are. And maybe that was my mistake for crossing them. I was just, for the sake of expediency, authenticating two documents that were both written by the person testifying.
Mr. Chairman, I could
Please.
possibly clear this up a little bit.
Sure.
It might not have been included in the packet for the complaint against Revolution at 74 Merrimack Street, because Officer Belanger's activities regarding whether he spoke to the people at Bar 74 when he was looking for the missing girl really don't have anything to do with the complaint against Revolution. They have to do with the complaint against Bar 74.
Bar 74.
Right, Bar and Grill. So supplement number 3 might not have been included in the package of reports going along with the complaint against Revolution.
Yes.
So is it easier just to take this as one complaint and then hear the other one? Or,
Yeah, let's do that. We'll talk about Revolution first, and then we'll.
I think that might be easier, just to
Against,
avoid some confusion here.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
You all right with that, counsel?
Mr. Chairman, we agree with that decision.
All right, thank you. Okay, do you have any other
I
further
have
questions?
no other
for-
questions at this time. Please stick around.
All right, call your next witness.
May I cross?
You want to cross?
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Officer Belanger?
Good evening, officer.
Evening.
So, my understanding is that the report of the missing person was around 4 o'clock, correct?
Correct.
And when you arrived there, you spoke to the cleaning crew.
Yes.
So this is, obviously, there was no doorman there, no security there, or no bartender door, correct?
Correct.
You didn't find any alcohol bottles or anything laying around out of the ordinary, correct?
Correct.
And the place seemed clean and looked like it was cleaned up after and taken care of, correct?
It's in the process of.
Are you talking about Revolution, or are you talking about Bar 74?
Actually, good point. That was for Bar 74. But let me bring it back to a very important point. You did state that the people that were there spoke broken English, correct?
Correct.
So certainly there was a difficulty in being able to communicate with them because there's issues.
Objection, Mr. Chairman. This is out of order.
All right, let's stay on Revolution. Let's not go near the Bar 74, so I'm not really sure if you want to redirect this Officer Belanger at this point. I mean,
We'll bring it back when we speak with Bar 74.
that would be fine, that would be fine. All right.
Thank you.
Officer Belanger, thank you for the moment. Counsel?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could I call Detective Coughlin, please?
If you could, Detective, just state your name for the record, please.
Yes, it's Detective Linda Coughlin.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Detective. Are you a member of the Lowell Police Department?
Yes, I am.
And were you asked to investigate a missing person report on or around 3/24/17?
Yes, I was asked to do a follow-up.
Could you tell me what happened in your investigation?
Merrimack College had also filed a report. They had some students that returned back to the college in the early morning hours, and they were reporting that one of their friends had kind of disappeared. They weren't able to find her. They had all been at a bar establishment in downtown Lowell.
And what happened next?
So I was able to get the names of all of the kids that had been there. The girl that was reported missing was Kathleen Bossy. I was able to speak with Kathleen, who did arrive back at the school a little bit later, after 4 a.m. And she explained that she had gone to Revolutions with her friends, one being Kelsey Blood, Jake Brito, and the second boy's last name is Sullivan. It's in my report if you need his first name. They got dropped off at revolutions by some friends. They all entered the bar using fake IDs. One was a Massachusetts license that belonged to someone else that Kathleen had gotten in with, and then Kelsey had used a Rhode Island identification to get in that she had purchased online, and then the two boys also had IDs. All four of them were under 21 years old. So they spent a couple hours in the bar upstairs. They purchased beverages from the bar. Kathleen remembers going up a couple of times on her own. She remembers purchasing Red Bull and vodka, and she also remembers the boys also going up and getting her and Kelsey some drinks. At the end of the night, when the bar was closing, they were ushering down the stairs toward the exit when Kathleen had to use the restroom, and she came down and asked one of the doormen at the bar downstairs if she could use the restroom. They were actually in the process of closing also. They let her back in, or I should say they let her in, to use the restroom. And as the bar closed, for lack of a better term, Kathleen passed out in the bathroom, and her friends were ushered outside. They waited outside for about an hour and a half, attempting to call, attempting to text, finding out where was she, what happened to her. They got no response. They went back to the bar and the doorman and told them that their friend was still inside. They were told nobody was in, the premises had been cleared, and they eventually left and took transportation back to Merrimack College, where when they got there, they reported Kathleen missing.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
If I may. Good evening, officer.
Good evening.
Have any charges been filed against these individuals?
No.
Are you aware of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 266, Section 37E, specifically dealing with identity theft or fraud by using somebody else's ID?
I'm familiar with it.
You would agree then that the individuals have committed that crime?
Objection. This isn't relevant.
It's very relevant, Your Honor, because it goes to the state of what conduct was actually done by the individuals. Certainly, if they're committing crimes, that is very relevant in terms of their credibility.
What does this have to do with the complaint?
Well, the complaint alleges that you have individuals that came in and certain things that occurred, and they're going to offer testimony. I believe they're present here. I'd like to present that individuals, whether they have past criminal history or present, it goes to the credibility of the individual in their testimony.
The criminal history of a witness is the criminal history of record and not allegations of criminal history or allegations of criminal acts.
Sure,
I submit that for the commissions.
Sure, but during the cross-examination, you can go as to the character, veracity of the testimony.
I don't think this is relevant at all, to be quite frank with you, Counselor. If you want to ask the detective some further questions, go right ahead, but I'm not going to let you let her answer that.
Sure. Officer, so you stated that the individuals used fake IDs, correct?
They used IDs to get in that weren't themselves, yes.
Okay. But the actual individual that we're talking about, Kathleen Bose, she actually used a valid Massachusetts license, didn't she?
I haven't actually seen the license myself, but my understanding is it was a valid license, yes.
No further questions.
Counsel, next.
The city would like to call Kathleen Bossy to the stand.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Yes. I'm Kathleen Bossy.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may interject, under the humane doctrine and as officer of the court, I'd like to relay to the witness that she has the right to a Fifth Amendment from self-incrimination, and that she's possibly right now going to incriminate herself in a public hearing, which could then be later used against her in a court of law, which is facing a potential up to 2.5 years of imprisonment, and including being expelled from her school.
Counsel?
I object to this statement.
Commissioner Howe, you have anything further on this? She understands her right, though.
Do you understand that you have the right from self-incrimination?
Objection, you're out of order.
Explain yourself, Counsel.
The time period right now is the city's direct examination of the witness.
Okay.
Ms. Bossy, on March 24th, 2017, how old were you?
I was 19 years old.
And where do you live?
I live in Berlin, Connecticut, but I attend Merrimack College in North Andover, Massachusetts.
So the night of March 24th, were you at campus?
For a period of the night, yes.
And then at some point you left campus?
Yes.
And was anyone with you?
Yes.
Who was with you?
I left campus with my friends, my roommate Kelsey Blood, and a few other of my friends. We had 2 of my friends drive us there, and 4 of us stayed at Mill City.
4 of you, I'm sorry, what?
4 of us got dropped off at Mill City. Me, my roommate, and, 3 other boys. 3 other boys, so 5 of us.
So the names of your friends are Kelsey Blood, and who else was with you at the destination?
It was myself, Kelsey Blood, Kevin Sullivan, Jake Vito, and Michael Levitt.
How old is your friend Kelsey Blood?
She's 19 as well.
And how old is your friend Kevin Sullivan?
19, I believe.
How old is your friend Jake Brito?
I couldn't tell you for certain, but I believe he's also 19.
Well, I don't want you to guess. How old is your friend Mike Levitt?
I couldn't tell you that for certain.
Sure. So you said you were with your friends and you went to Lowell somewhere, is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember the name of the establishment that you...
Yeah, we refer to it as Mill City.
You referred to it, is that its actual name?
That's what it's called. Yeah, I don't think it's been referred to that thus far as Mill City, but that's what we call it.
Okay. Do you know what street that is on?
I couldn't tell you.
Do you know what other landmarks are near it?
No, I'm sorry.
How many times have you been to that place?
This is my first time.
Would it, if I said the name Revolution Nightclub, would that ring a bell to you as possibly it being the name of the establishment?
It doesn't sound familiar to me, to be honest.
So when you arrived at this establishment, did you go right inside?
Yes, we approached a doorman, a bouncer, and we presented him with false IDs, like that was stated, and we went upstairs immediately, and we entered the nightclub.
And once you were inside the nightclub, did you purchase an alcoholic beverage?
We did, yes. We went straight to the bar, and one of our male friends bought us all a round of Red Bull vodka drinks.
Who was the male friend who purchased the drinks?
The first person, I believe, was, I couldn't tell you the boy for certain, but I know it was a male who bought us the round of drinks.
And so for the first round of drinks, do you remember being handed a drink?
Yes.
And who handed the drink to you?
The boy who bought them. I didn't really, focus on who handed me the drink because it was one of my friends, so I didn't really suspect anything.
Did you yourself purchase any alcohol from the bar?
Later on in the night, I think I bought either one or two.
And so when you did that, did you go up to the bartender and purchase that drink?
I did.
And did the bartender hand you the drink?
She did.
Did you see Kelsey Blood purchase any alcoholic beverages while you were there?
I did not observe her purchase any.
Did you observe her consuming any alcoholic beverages while you were there?
I did.
What did she have? Do you remember?
We all had Red Bull vodkas.
Did when you purchased the alcohol yourself, did the bartender ever ask you for your proof of age?
No.
So you said that you had, I don't remember the terminology that you used, but you presented some sort of proof of age to the person at the door, is that right?
Yes.
And you said that it wasn't, that it was fraudulent, is that right?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You said that, was the ID?
It was a false
your
ID.
It was a false ID?
Yeah, it was a false ID.
Do you remember whose name was on the ID?
I believe it was Anastasia Blood. It was a real ID, but of an entirely different person. So it was false in reference to myself.
I see. So you were at the, what did you call it, the Mill City?
Mill City, yes.
And you and your friends purchased a number of alcoholic drinks. At some point, you had to go to the bathroom, is that right?
Yes.
And what happened after that?
Going to the bathroom is something I don't remember, to be honest with you. There's a point where we were there for a couple of hours. I remember seeing my friend, and after that, I don't remember anything but waking up on the toilet at 4:30 in the morning.
How did you know it was 4:30 in the morning?
Because when I woke up, I had my cell phone with me. I looked at the time.
What did you do then?
I was in complete shock, to be honest with you. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really know where I was, but all I knew is I had to get out of there because I was alone. So I got up and I almost ran out of the bar. Yeah, it was 4:30.
So you said you got up and you ran out of the bar. Did you communicate with anyone on your way out of the bar?
I did.
Who did you speak with?
I wasn't really familiar with any other place in the bar other than the top floor, but from what I remember, I didn't go down any stairs, so I must have been on the first floor. And so I exited the bathroom, and I was walking very briskly through this larger room, and I looked to my left, and there was two males by a bar, and they kind of scoffed at me, and they said, "Do you need a ride home?" And I said, "No, I'm okay." And I kind of didn't pay it any attention, and I exited Mill City, and I walked to the sidewalk, and I called my friends.
How did you get home that night?
I called an Uber home.
Did you see Kelsey Blood's ID that night?
I didn't see it.
I'm sorry?
Her individual ID?
Yes.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it. Did you see anyone else's ID that night?
I didn't, to be honest with you. I only had my own.
That's all the questions I have for you at this time. I'm going to turn you over to the attorney for the Revolution nightclub.
Well, I'd like to question her, and then he can cross her. Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely.
What time did you arrive at the bar that night?
I believe we left Merrimack at 10 o'clock, so we got there around 10:30.
And you testified that you know this bar as the Mill City. How do you know that?
It's a very popular place for kids to go on my campus
Why is that?
because they let a lot of underage kids into their bar.
When you arrived at the bar that you call Mill City, was there a doorman outside?
There was, yes.
And you presented the doorman with the ID? And what did he do?
It was very dark out, so he stood there, and there was a line that formed in front of him, and we all stood in it, and he would take an ID, and he'd take a flashlight, and he'd go like this for approximately 1 or 2 seconds, and then he'd say, "You're all set," and we'd go inside.
So the ID that you had was Anastasia Blood's ID?
Yes.
And does she look like you?
She has brown hair, but it's very easy to decipher between the two of us.
And were you the first one in there of all your friends?
I was not.
Did you go in before Kelsey or after Kelsey?
I believe I went in after her.
So did you see Kelsey present her ID to the doorman?
I did.
And did the doorman spend the same split second looking at the ID?
Yes.
And is it your understanding she had an ID from Rhode Island?
Yes. I can't tell you that for certain, where it's from, but I knew she had a false ID.
And the doorman didn't question you or Kelsey, did he?
Not at all.
When you were leaving the Mill City, the bar you referred to as Mill City, had the four of you walked out of the bar and then you decided you wanted to go to the bathroom?
So, like I stated before, this isn't a part of the night that I remember. I've only been told that we did exit together, and then I had to go to the bathroom, so I re-entered, and that's just what I've been told, but I don't remember that.
And then when you came to, you said, what, 4:30 in the morning?
Yes.
And you exited, you saw two gentlemen
Yes.
in the bar. Where were they located? Were they behind the bar?
To be honest with you, I don't know if they were in front or behind. I know that they were standing directly next to each other, next to the bar. I ran past them very quickly, so I don't recollect a lot of details, but I do know that I exited, and then approximately 2 minutes after I exited, they left the bar and drove away. So that's all I recall.
Did you see any cleaning crew in there, a man and a woman cleaning?
I did not.
Right. Thank you.
Detective Coughlin. Yes. In the report, Merrimack College campus police confiscated the false IDs. Does the Lowell police have?
We haven't.
Can we see those?
I believe the deputy has them.
Yes, I was going to introduce them as evidence, but we have copies of...
All right, I'll let you proceed then. I just want to make sure that we get to see them, all right?
Cross-examination?
Are we all set?
Let's cross.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, any other commissioners, any questions? Okay, go right ahead, Cal.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
sorry, Commissioner Cregan.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused by the timeline. Her witness saw two males. She seems pretty sure that. You are sure they were two males, right?
Yes.
The police talked to a man and a woman who were the cleaning crew, which our witness did not see. But this is all taking place between 4 o'clock and 4:30, right?
Yes.
So That still has to be resolved in my mind, but I'm waiting.
Actually, maybe you can clarify this. Actually, that would have been between 4 o'clock and 4:11, if I'm reading the report correctly. Is that right?
Yes, that's my reading of the report as well.
Okay. Hold on one second. That's what you get from the report as well? All right, so we're looking at 11-minute time difference here?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Counsel. You can ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I apologize, Kathleen Bose, correct?
Bossy.
Bossy. Ms. Bossy, when you gained entry to the establishment, this is the establishment that you went up the stairs to get into, correct?
Yes.
And that was the same establishment that you ran down the stairs when you left, correct?
When I left for the final time? No. I did not run down the stairs.
Okay. What establishments were you in at during that time that night?
What establishments, did you ask?
Yeah, in other words, where were you during that night? Like what places?
Only in Mill City.
So you were in one place?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we all establish that the Mill City Ballroom is Revolution? Just so everybody is on the same page. So when you say Mill City, you meant Mill City Ballroom, right? Not the bar on the ground floor, but you went upstairs,
To the Mill City
all right,
Ballroom.
which is
yes.
Revolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you presented that ID to the doorman for Revolution, you were using a valid Massachusetts license, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that you weren't the person in that license, correct?
Correct.
You knew the information that was on that ID, correct?
No, I didn't.
Okay. But you did know who Anastasia is, correct?
Yes.
In fact, she's the older sister of Kelsey Blood, correct?
Correct.
And you're familiar with how Anastasia looks, correct?
Yes.
So you would agree that at some point in the night, you don't really recollect as to the events, correct?
I don't recollect what, I'm sorry.
Toward the end of the night, you don't recall the events very clearly, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions for the witness.
Commissioner Krieger?
I'm not sure that it's this case or the next case, but there's a discussion of a Rhode Island driver's license.
That will be next.
Okay.
All right, as long as we get to that.
Ms. Bossy, I think you're all set at this point.
Thank you.
Counsel, next witness, please.
Yes, the city would like to call Kelsey Blood to the stand.
Hi.
Hello.
State your name for the record, please.
Kelsey Blood.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in tonight, Kelsey. On March 24th of this year, how old were you?
19 years old.
And were you with Kathleen Bossy that day?
Yes.
Were you with her as she ventured from Merrimack College to Lowell?
Yes.
What was your destination?
The same place, Mill City, so the Mill City Ballroom Revolution.
And is it your understanding that that establishment has a reputation
Yes.
for serving underage patrons?
Yes.
Was Kathleen listed a bunch of people that were with you that night? She named you. She also named Kevin Sullivan, Jake Brito, and Mike Levitt. Do you remember those persons also being present?
Yes.
Do you know the ages of everyone in that group?
The only person that I definitely know the age of is Jake Vito, and he's 20.
Did everyone in that group gain admission into the establishment?
Yes.
Did everyone present an ID on their way into the building?
Yes.
So you presented an ID as well?
Yep.
And where was your ID from?
Rhode Island.
Let's see if I have actually I have the ID here in front of me. Let me just
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So I don't have a microphone, but so is this the ID that you used to gain entry into the establishment?
Yes.
So do we Did you see the other IDs that were used to gain entry into the club by your friends?
No.
Okay. The I'd like to enter the ID into evidence in this matter. I also have reports from Deputy Webb, who ran the IDs, so I'm gonna ask him to speak on these reports.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit some the IDs and some documents for your consideration. What I'm going to give you are the supposed Rhode Island and Pennsylvania licenses that we recovered from the Merrimack College Police Department earlier today. I'm going to give you some printouts with that will have the Pennsylvania and Rhode Island IDs on them, along with computer checks that establish that these are in fact not true licenses. There's no record of these licenses on file with Pennsylvania or Rhode Island. I'll also give you a copy of a photo from a Massachusetts license for Anastasia Blood, whose ID you have heard referred to. That is a legitimate Massachusetts license. I'm going to give that to you so you can see the photo of the person in question on that ID. And since that is a real ID, I'm not permitted to disclose her personal information, so that has been blocked out. But I did check that and establish that Anastasia Blood is in fact 22 years old. Mr. Chairman, In connection with those IDs, if I could just ask you to make note that Chapter 138, Section 34B establishes the IDs that a licensee may reasonably rely on as a defense for admitting someone into a establishment for serving alcoholic beverages, and out-of-state driver's licenses are not IDs that can be reasonably relied on.
You have no question?
No.
You answered your
Thanks.
question?
Yeah, thanks to Deputy Chief Webb.
Counsel?
Yes. So once you entered the nightclub, did you purchase an alcoholic beverage?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
I just walked up to the bartender and I said, "Can I get a Red Bull vodka?" And I paid, and she handed it to me.
So you walked up to the bartender. How did you know that they worked there?
Well, they were like behind a bar.
Did she ask you for your ID at that time?
No.
Did you see Kathleen Bossy purchase alcoholic beverages while she was at the nightclub as well?
I didn't.
Did you see any of your friends purchase alcohol at the Revolution nightclub?
Yes. Well, the way, like, a couple people could go up at a time, so I'm not sure who exactly got it, but I did see the friends up there.
And how many alcoholic beverages would they purchase at a time? More than
think it's-
two? Would you say more than two?
Yeah.
At some point, Kathleen went to the bathroom. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Can you describe what happened at that time?
So I actually left. We were upstairs, and I actually left to make a phone call. And I went back, and I was standing in front of the bar, and I called my friends, and I said, "I want to leave." And they said, "Okay." So they brought everyone down, and we are standing in front of like the stairs to go up to Revolution. And Kathleen said that she had to go to the bathroom, and so she went to. I thought they were the same place, but apparently they're two separate establishments. So she went to the lower level and said she needed to go to the bathroom, and they let her in. And we didn't really think anything of it. We waited like 20 minutes, and they were clearing the place out, and she hadn't come out. So we started to get a little bit worried. We were calling her, and we weren't getting a response.
So when Kathleen entered the downstairs bar area, you said that they let her in. Are you telling me that there was a staff person there?
Yes, there was a man, and she just said, I really need to go to the bathroom, and he let her in to use the bathroom.
Do you know what time that was?
I know it was around 1 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure if it was before or after.
Okay, so the bar was open at the time?
Yeah.
So when you were outside and Kathleen was inside in the bathroom, at some point you said that several minutes had passed and you were trying to locate her?
Yeah, so they had started clearing people out from the top establishment and also the bottom establishment, and she wasn't coming out with them, and we hadn't seen her, so we started to get worried.
And so what did you do next?
Myself, Kevin Sullivan, and Jake Vito all were calling her, and we were probably calling for in total we were standing outside for about an hour and a half, and in that time period, we were calling and asking people that were walking by if they had seen her, and nobody had seen her. And I remember the three of us walked up to where Kathleen had entered the lower level, and we asked a male and said, "Is there anybody in there? Our friend went to the bathroom and she hasn't come out," and his response was, "We cleared everybody out, there's nobody in there."
So when you say you were calling her, do you mean on the phone?
Yeah.
Were you shouting her name in the venue?
Yeah, we were like walking around the general vicinity trying to find her, saying her name. We couldn't find her, and we were also calling her on the phone.
And did you attempt to enter that downstairs bar area?
Yes, not like forcefully or anything. I didn't really pursue it as much as I probably should have, but I said, "Can I go in there and look for my friend?" And the man said, "No, we cleared it out and nobody's in there."
Did you believe that the male that you were speaking to worked at that establishment?
Yes.
Did they have any special clothing on that would give you that indication?
I don't really remember.
But they were standing at the door and controlling who went in and who went out, is that right?
Yes. It was pretty chaotic because people were going in and out, but at that time where I said, "Our friend is in there, we haven't seen her leave," he said, "No, she's not in there."
I have no further questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Donahue.
Good evening.
Hello.
When you went upstairs were there 5 of you together?
Yes.
And you got a table?
And what? Sorry.
You got a table?
No, there's no tables, you just stand.
Just hanging out in a corner or just together?
Yes.
At some point, somebody went and got the first round?
Yes.
And that person, do you remember who it was?
No, because all the males went up together, so I couldn't say specifically who actually bought them.
But each of them was under 21?
Yes.
And they came back to you, and they had alcoholic beverages?
Yes.
That they had got at the bar?
Yes.
And you were given one by one of the guys?
Yes.
Okay. So they were served what came back to you as alcoholic beverages?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioners?
I'm sorry, maybe I have one more.
Sure, good.
At one point, did you go to the bar?
Yes, I did.
And you purchased how many drinks?
I got one for myself.
One for yourself? And
Yep.
that was the Red Bull and vodka?
Yes.
And you had no difficulty purchasing that?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Commissioner Howell?
Good evening. I just have one question. When you went to the area where you questioned the employee of the bar, when you said that our friend is in there, and what did he respond?
He said that the employees had been clearing everybody out and they hadn't seen anyone.
Did you say anything in response to that?
I said she went she went in there to go to the bathroom, and he said we cleared everything out.
Did he seem concerned?
No.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening.
And I apologize, Kelsey Blood?
Blood, yes.
Miss Blood, so when you presented this ID, you knew that the ID was not you, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that the information on it was incorrect?
Yes.
And you intended to present it to gain entry to the establishment under false information, correct?
Yes.
And just to summarize a little bit, the establishment of interest in terms of entry and exit, this is the Mill City Ballroom, correct?
Yes.
No further questions.
Just to piggyback on Commissioner Donahue's question, so when all 5 of you were up there, did you say one person went up and bought 5 drinks?
No, I'm assuming yes, but the 3 males went up at the same time, so I'm not sure who exactly ordered it. But
it could have been 3 of them that ordered.
yeah, the
All
3
right.
of them could have gotten multiple, or one could have gotten
That's
5
fine.
at a time.
That's fine. Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Counselor, anything further for Ms. Blood, or?
Not at this time, since we're taking up the second item, the Bar 74 separately.
So at this point, have you finished your witnesses?
Yes, the city has no more witnesses. If I could just briefly summarize.
Sure, go ahead.
The charge against, oh yeah, you can sit down, thanks. The charge against LD Holdings, DBA Revolution, is the selling and delivering of an alcoholic beverage to a person under 21 years of age in violation of Chapter 138, Section 34, 4 counts. And you've heard testimony from 2 eyewitnesses, Kathleen and Kelsey, who both saw these events happen, who in fact purchased alcohol from a employee of...
Counselor, can I pause you just for 1 second, please?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Counselor, I had interrupted you, but if you could just hold off on your summation. We have a couple of the commissioners like to ask the personnel from Revolution a few questions.
Sure.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I'm so sorry for interrupting. Just for purposes of preserving the record, I'd like to object to the fact that opposing counsel was able to converse without me being able to take part in the conversations, only for preserving the record.
Noted. Thank you. Commissioner
I just want to note for the record that I didn't see counsel come up and engage in conversation, so I don't know how we prevented him from engaging in conversation. Thanks.
I appreciate that. Commissioner Howe?
I'd also like to object to this last-minute submittal from the Revolution and Bar 74. I mean, it'd be nice to get a little notice of these submittals. I'd like to call Sean Brine as a witness. Please state your name
Sean Bryan, manager of Revolution Nightclub.
Drawing your attention to March 23rd, 24th, do you recall what day of the week that was?
I actually do not.
If I told you it was a Thursday, would that refresh your memory?
That sounds about right.
Are you the manager of Revolution?
Yes, I am.
In the Revolution, at the Revolution Bar, where in the area do you check the IDs?
At the bottom of the stairs.
Prior to March 23rd, 2017, could you describe what the training that you gave your employees as far as checking IDs and attempting to spot fake IDs?
Absolutely. The training that was given to my employee was done by an outside organization. He attested to his skills at that position. He submitted a resume that said that he had very extensive experience in that area. I have since doubted that experience, and I have fired that individual and brought in the single best checker of IDs that I've ever experienced.
Have you thought about getting a scanner?
Yes, but the person who I have checking IDs at this point can detect IDs like Kathleen's, where he will be able to tell that even if it is a valid ID that would scan, that it is not them.
So you heard the testimony tonight that the person checking the ID that night just glanced at it.
I did hear that.
And there were no questions about why someone from Rhode Island had driven up to Lowell to go to a bar.
I did hear that, and there is no excuse for that.
Could you describe the procedure for the Revolution of closing time?
Closing time is we clear every single person out of the bar, check that everyone is clear. We go outside, make sure that there's no incidents, help the police with any uprising of the intoxicated individuals outside. And then Revolution employees return to Revolution. Bar 74 employees return to Bar 74. Bar 74 does their security check. They usually leave before Revolution does, and then at the very end of the night, I do my comprehensive sweep of the entire building.
So on that evening, did you do a comprehensive sweep of the entire building?
Yes, and her testimony's false. I found her, personally. I woke her up. She clearly does not remember anything. All of this testimony from this individual can't be credible. She has no idea what she did. 4:30, she said that was the time on her phone. She doesn't even know the time on her phone because it clearly was not 4:30. It was right around 4 o'clock. I believe it was 4:01, 4:02. I don't acknowledge her testimony as being in any way relevant. She's an intoxicated criminal.
You've been in here several times before.
Yes, I have. And
So-
I hope I don't get called Sarah Palin's.
So I apologize for that. Your reputation is one of the lowest in this room right now. So for you to attack the credibility of a younger person who your bar let in illegally and served alcohol illegally is outrageous. Now,
I'm
let
not
me ask you
attacking the
this. Well,
individuals.
I'm asking the questions. Who
Apologies.
was the person at the door when Kelsey Blood testified? She went up to someone at the door and said, "My friend is in there." Who did she go up to?
It was not a current employee. It was a former employee who was not security, that was a DJ, and he has been terminated for doing exactly that.
Your attorney provided us with documentation a minute before this hearing, so we didn't get much time to review it. And in the documentation, there's a response to the charge of failure to maintain order and decorum in the premises. And it says, the alleged patron was let in by the DJ Lawrence Kritikos. Is that the individual that you fired?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Why was the DJ at the door letting people in?
Exactly.
So that you're responsible for
reason
this
for that.
bar, you're the one,
That was actually Bar 74, not Revolution.
who's the manager of Bar 74?
Dave Healy.
The situation was addressed by Sean K. Brine and Scott Foreman during the final building sweep, at which point she was offered and refused assistance and safely escorted off the premises. Are you referring to Kathleen Bossy?
Yes, I am.
What time was that?
That was right around 4 o'clock. Obviously before the police entered and after we closed.
So her friends are out there wondering where she is, and it's at 4 a.m. you decide to look for someone and you find them. That's what happened, right?
Incorrect. I was doing my normal security sweep and found an individual in the bar that I am not in control of. I simply do the sweep of that bar at the end of the night because it is part of the building.
We are extremely lucky that this individual wasn't assaulted or didn't die that evening. So I, for one, am completely disgusted with your establishment, and you do not run a decent establishment, and you're the only reason why we're here late at night, you people. That's all I have to say.
I have a quick question. So is it your testimony that there was no one at the door from Revolution Nightclub checking IDs?
No, of course there was someone at the door from Revolution Nightclub checking IDs.
But you just testified that the DJ from Bar 74 was checking IDs.
He was not checking IDs. He was there at the end of the night and illegally, against our wishes, opened the door for a person that he probably just wanted to greet himself. It was not an employee of ours. It was a DJ who was in our employ, but also we're not currently speaking about my establishment. We're speaking about Bar 74.
Well, what's your role at Bar 74?
None.
Well, you perform the security sweeps.
I perform the security sweep of the entire building at the end of the night. Bar 74 is attached. I make sure that nobody has migrated there at any point.
Council, let's make sure we stay on point here with the establishments. Mr. Brine actually, for Revolution, if he in fact says that there was a sweep done, Mrs. Bossy wasn't found in Revolution. She was found in Bar 74. So I just want to make sure we're clear here on what we're asking, all right? So if there was a comprehensive sweep of Revolution done, then fine, I understand it. And it looks like Revolution did their job in their final sweep, supposedly, okay? I just don't want to make sure that we don't mix up establishments here.
Sure, I was just confused about his role at Bar 74, and that's why I was asking.
Okay. Should we
also have Mr.
Commissioner
Healy
Howe,
here.
Commissioner Howe, should we have instead of asking Mr. Brine, maybe
I
bring up the
apologize,
other
Mr.
manager?
Chairman.
Because we got to stay on point of Revolution. We haven't got to Bar 74 yet.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I do want to clarify something.
Yeah?
You know, I'm a counsel here reviewing all of the records. I wasn't there. I clearly don't know what happened. But as it stands right now, I haven't actually heard any testimony that she was in Bar 74. The testimony that has been presented that she's been at Revolution and not Bar 74. I know personally when I spoke to my clients, they clearly stated that they're relying on information that other people are giving to them, and they responded accordingly by terminating people. But I know, for example, I spoke to the manager for Bar 74. He doesn't know how, and he still took measures to prevent this from happening.
Okay.
So as I'm hearing this today, apparently she was found in Revolution and not Bar 74.
But she was found in Bar 70. We know that, we'll get to Bar 74. Let's stay on point with Revolution for the fact that I think Mr. Brine just said that she didn't know what she's talking about because she was so drunk in his bar.
We did not overserve her, though. Her friends did. It's been repeatedly testified
what did you
that
just
her
say?
friends were buying the drinks. I understand that we served her friends the drinks, but we had no way of knowing.
You may want to ask counsel to answer that before you really incriminate yourself.
Yes, sir.
Because that's not the right answer you want to give
I
this
apologize for
commission
my
right now.
demeanor. I'm just very frustrated because I take my job extremely seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sean, did you say you found this young woman?
Yes,
And where did you find her?
she was in the bathroom stall.
In which establishment?
Bar 74.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we, so her friends bought her drinks to get her drunk, is what you just said?
That is not what I said. I'm just saying that she testified that her friends went to the bar, and there were 3 of them. Yeah, no.
Is it yes or no?
I honestly forgot the question.
Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah, I'd like a reprise so I understand what's going on here. We're saying that the young lady entered Revolution, which is the upstairs establishment, through the door that leads to the stairs. She went upstairs. The person checking IDs did a bad job checking IDs because A, she got in with a fake ID, with an ID that was true but wasn't hers. And then they let in people with IDs from other states, which is against the mass law. And then she came down and she went into the bathroom for the 74 Lounge and Grill, where she was found at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. That is correct.
And while she was upstairs, she was served.
The concern I have is testimony from Ms. Bossy and Ms. Blood that there is a fairly, a reputation that Revolution has pretty laxed policies as it pertains to letting in people. And the way they said it, it was like, it's pretty well known, and I'm sure it's known in other colleges as well. That, they didn't hesitate when they said that either. That kind of drew attention to me. And it seems to me is, we must be doing something, we have to be doing something different when we're checking IDs. And if it's this commission's job is for you to invest in, I know you're saying you're hiring some guy, but if I remember correctly, Mr. Bryan, when you first came into here, you said security was your business and that you handpicked your crew.
That
and
is
you
true,
did,
sir.
and now you've just fired one of your crew.
Yes, I did.
That's not good. So what we need to do is make sure that every person that gets in there is 21 years old. And obviously,
Absolutely.
your staff or your handpicked staff is not doing their job.
The individual taking his place
Yeah.
is coming from being a head of security
Yeah.
in New Bedford. He's my most trusted asset. I spare no expense bringing him here, housing him, keeping him here for the weekends because I trust him.
I wonder if Mr. Salvo would actually agree with you that this one guy, she would put all of her worth, all the money that she put into, and if he makes one mistake, this commission is going to take away that license. Now, the way I would look at it, since I was a former bar owner, I would say, I'm going to make an investment. You know what? I can't let this happen again. I'm going to spend a lot of money to make sure that every license goes inside a scanner. And this way, it'll never happen again. Why this is happening and why you guys have this reputation is why you're in front of us tonight.
Absolutely. The buying a scanner absolutely seems like a reasonable thing to do, and I would be more than willing to suggest that we comply with that.
Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah. Can you make a profit if you don't have underage drinkers coming to your establishment?
Of course. I don't see how that actually relates to profitability or to the successful nature of the bar. It's not, that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Donahue, anything further? Commissioner Howard? Nope. Commissioner McCarthy?
All set.
All right. Commissioner Krieger, I'm sorry, did you have any further comments?
I'm ready for motions.
Do you have a motion on the floor, sir?
I'd like to,
Sure, go ahead, Counsel. And I don't want to stop you from your summation either. Do you still want to do that, Counsel?
Briefly.
Okay. And then I'll let you speak right after, okay, Counsel?
I'd still wanted to ask
Oh,
Sean,
why don't you do the
questions.
redirect? Go ahead.
Sure.
Yep.
Good evening. Do you take your job very seriously?
Of course.
And certainly you're upset about this whole incident, correct?
Extremely.
Now, earlier you testified that you weren't sure about the date, and I believe one of the members of the commission actually had to refresh your memory, correct?
Yes.
So when we heard the officer testify, he said he spoke to the cleaning people that said that there was nobody there since 3 a.m. Just as you needed to refresh your memory with the date, would it be fair to say that your timing in terms of whether it was 3 a.m. or earlier is also maybe incorrect, correct?
To an extent.
Okay. And do you take people that show up with fake IDs or using someone else's ID? What do you usually do with those IDs?
We confiscate them from the individuals.
And are these a sample of the IDs?
Yes, they are.
May I approach? I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right. Counsel?
Excuse me,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I don't have any questions for him. I was just going to ask him to sit down.
I'd like to question Mr. Healy. I promise it won't be long.
Supposedly.
Please state your name for the record.
David Healy Jr.
Are you the manager of Bar 74?
Yes, I am.
Were you there on the night in question, March 23rd, 24th?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
At closing time, were you there when Mr. Bryan found Kathleen Bossy?
No, I was not.
Were you there at closing time?
Yes, I was.
When did you become aware of what was going on?
It wasn't until approximately 2 days after.
Were you in the bar when Kathleen Bossy left?
No, I was not.
What were you doing what time did you leave the establishment?
Approximately 2:30.
What did you do in preparation for closing the bar?
In preparation for closing the bar, I give the keys to one of my security guys, make sure that the doors are locked, no one can get in from the outside. I physically check those doors to make sure that they're shut and can't be opened from the outside. I come back in, I take the registers, and basically I go over the till at the end of the night to make sure the money's on point.
Does anyone do a sweep of the bar, including the restrooms, to make sure that everyone is out of the place?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did that?
It would have to be one of the security or one of the other managers. I do not know who did it that night off the top of my head.
Well, Mr. Bryan testified that he went over to Bar 74 and found Miss Bossy in the restroom. So would he have been the one that did the sweep?
No. What we do at the end of the night is one of my security or another one of the managers will go through immediately after everybody leaves, takes a look around, make sure the bathrooms, aren't destroyed, anything leaking from sinks to toilets or anything like that. Basically, if anything's a real mess, that we have to talk to the cleaning company to make sure that they know what they have to do.
So Miss Bossy testified that she woke up at approximately 4:30 in the morning in the ladies' room, and you're telling us tonight that you didn't hear about this incident until 2 days after?
Correct.
I have no other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just to get back to the Revolution
You're all set, Mr. Healy.
agenda
Thank you.
item. The charge against Revolution is that they well, the allegation against them is that on March 24th, they sold or delivered alcoholic beverages to persons under 21 years of age in violation of Chapter 138, Section 34. And you've heard testimony from 2 eyewitnesses that they and their friends not only personally bought alcohol from staff members at that establishment, but also obtained alcohol from their friends while they were at that establishment and consumed it on the premises, all while being underage. There's also the police report of Detective Coughlin that the city submits into evidence, and police report of Officer Belanger that the city has to submit its evidence as well, supporting that charge, and also violation of 204 CMR 2.05, Part 2. Which states that no licensee for the sale of alcoholic beverages shall permit any disorder, disturbance, or illegality of any kind to take place in or on the licensed premises. You heard testimony from our eyewitnesses that not only were they purchasing alcoholic beverages while underage on the premises directly from the staff people, but also were handed alcoholic beverages from their friends who are also underage, who had purchased alcoholic beverages on the premises. I think that, and I submit that the evidence before you shows that a violation did occur, and we ask for the commission to hold to that. You also have in front of you an ID that one of the witnesses identified as the ID that she attempted to use to gain entry to the bar and was successful, and it's a fake ID from the state of Rhode Island. And we have the police department's report, which states that that is, in fact, a fake ID. So based on those facts, I submit to you that a violation did take place.
Thank you. Counsel?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You can lift that up if you'd like.
Thank you.
Sure.
First, I want to address one of the issues as to this late submission. Again, with respect, that submission is only just to memorialize things that were to be presented today, and I suggest that they did not need to be presented in advance, similar to the police presenting today, for example, several exhibits, including the ID and several printouts. So it's something that we intended to present today, and I just wanted to help to memorialize it and put it on paper. The other thing that I want to say is that the establishment has the right to have a business, and there is due process. They have due process, and part of the due process is that allegations have to be brought in properly. And the way the complaint is written, we have reference to Massachusetts General Law, Chapters 138, Section 34. And we also have 204 CMR 205. So we have two complaints here, two claims in the complaint. Massachusetts General Law, Chapters 138, Section 34 is actually a crime if you violate it. And that's why if you look at it carefully, there's actually language that states good faith. In other words, if somebody looks at the ID, even if that ID comes back false, but you have good faith basis to believe that it's a valid ID, then you're not in violation of Massachusetts General Law, Chapters 138. That is the law, and that is something that would be upheld in court. And more importantly, when we look at 204 CMR 205, it references the same statute, stating that if you complied with Massachusetts General Law, Chapters 138, Section 34, then no illegality occurred. So based the way this complaint is written, and again, we have the right to due process, and the way it's written, presented, no violation actually occurred. Why? Because clearly, evidence was presented today through testimony and the police themselves that there was a state ID that was presented. So the question is simple. Would a reasonable person looking at that ID assume that that's the ID of a person? And the police was kind enough to produce the Massachusetts driver license of Anastasia Blood. And if we take a look at her, I mean, she's an exact replica of her. I mean, take a look at the picture. She looks just like her. And, you know, she provided her own testimony, and I want to point to her actual movement. I know she didn't speak, but the movement is that she moved the flashlight from left to right, and she did that motion twice. So that suggests to me that the security in the front didn't just flash to take a look at the ID, but he made that movement to also check the holograms on it. And that's a very important point that we all observed. So again, the question is, did the person at the door act in good faith based on this criminal statute that's been raised in the complaint? And I suggest to you that he did.
Counsel?
Yeah.
If he did, why would you fire him?
The reason that we fired him is that we still want better security. We still don't want to come before you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, it's the last thing certainly my client wants to do is take time to come in here and really spend a whole evening being here. I mean, it's very difficult to run a business. You have to pay for lights, you have to pay for counsel, you have to pay for all the expenses, and certainly we want to avoid that. Just because someone didn't violate the statutes as listed does not mean that we can still take extra measures to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. So we're certainly taking those measures. The other thing that I want to point out, I mean, we brought these IDs just to show you that, I mean, this mass IDs, I mean, they're pretty impressive. And I certainly agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that going forward, we should get a scanner and scan each and every individual ID. But again, for purposes of the complaint as written, no violation of the criminal statute occurred, which clearly is referenced in 204 CMR 205. And the last thing that I want to point out that was attached in my packet was what happened when there was an actual sting in some of the liquor stores. These were actual minors. These were actual minors with no IDs that walked into a liquor store and made purchases of liquor. This wasn't somebody that were committing fraud, weren't somebody that committing a crime. And in that particular cases, their suspension was a day. And more importantly, when we looked at it, and specifically for Pacific Liquors, it states, it was the second sale to a minor in less than a year, and they got 1 day suspension. And this we know was somebody that didn't have an ID. Not in the case that we see today, where clearly someone presented an ID. At the previous hearing, Mr. Chairman, I thank members of the committee and the board for allowing to hold a 3-day suspension for in abeyance. Today, I'd like to point out that, again, as written, no violation occurred, as written in the complaint. I would ask that, in line with some of the penalties that we see with Pacific Liquors, that there be a day suspension with the previous 3-day suspension, which would be a 4-day suspension. I would humbly ask the members of this committee to please allow it from Sunday to Wednesday. We'll close the bar for 4 days. Certainly direct to get a scanner so that we scan every single ID. Certainly we don't want to come back here. We certainly don't want to be going through this, and it's very stressful. I certainly apologize for Sean, who takes this very seriously, and he clearly was very emotional about this. He certainly is very upset about the situation. And I believe that in light of the evidence, that would be fair and reasonable. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Any final
Just,
comment? Yes,
yeah, just
Counsel.
briefly on redirect, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I wish I got his pay.
State law, as referenced by opposing counsel, does not allow a licensee to reasonably rely on out-of-state licenses. It's Chapter 34B of Chapter 138. It allows a licensee to reasonably rely on Massachusetts licenses, Massachusetts IDs, Massachusetts liquor licenses, passports, and U.S. military IDs, but it does not allow a licensee to reasonably rely on an out-of-state license. And as you heard from the testimony and the licenses in front of you, there were several that are out of state. Also, the testimony before you also was that the guard only looked at, or the security person that was checking IDs only looked at the IDs for 2 seconds. So I'm not sure how reasonable their reliance on the Massachusetts license could be.
All right, that's fine.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I do want to point out that...
I'll let you have last word, Counsel,
Yes,
that's it.
last word. Actually, I respectfully disagree. The states and the cities can pass ordinances, and the fact you can't have an out-of-state license is actually based on the Alcohol Beverage Commission regulation and not the actual statute. And again, procedurally, this complaint would have to be amended to include that regulation, but as it's written, it does not include it. And again, I understand that a complaint can be amended, and that's why I still offered the 4-day suspension going forward. Thank you.
Do we have any final comments from the Commission? Commissioner Krieger.
With regard to a device for scanning the licenses, my experience several times a month going on to Hanscom Air Force Base is that he is able to scan my wife's military ID and my military ID and do it in a couple of seconds. It doesn't take a long time to use the scanner. He looks at us, he looks at the ID, he scans it all pretty quickly. So I don't see that as a time problem that we need to be worried about. Professional people using professional equipment can do it. I would be prepared to make a motion.
Any other comments before Commissioner Krieger makes a motion? Okay. Commissioner Donahue.
I have a question just as to the procedure going forward as to penalties, if any, being meted out separately.
That will be the case tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioner Krieger.
Well, I was going to go for a suspension of 3 days, but the attorney suggested 4. So I move that we have a 4-day suspension and that the license not be returned until the Revolution has a device for scanning ID cards. It was recommended that it be from Monday through Thursday?
Sunday through Wednesday.
Sunday through Wednesday. Are you guys even open Sunday through Thursday?
Yes,
Wednesday?
we do open Tuesdays, Wednesdays. We do open for Sundays and Mondays on special promotions.
You repeat that, Commissioner Krieger?
Yes. That a 4-day suspension and the license not be returned until Revolution has a device for scanning IDs, and I would say that it should be served Monday through Thursday.
All right, let's hold on 1 second. Did you have a comment first?
No.
You did not. All right. You are not open on Monday, correct?
Varies in terms of special events.
All right. So this isn't special.
Tuesday to Friday, then.
Tuesday, you're not open either, right?
Again, same thing.
Special events, right? Yeah, so they're really not open Mondays and Tuesdays.
We are open.
All right, so, I don't know if you
Just
mind if you don't mind making an amendment to that.
No.
I would actually drop it down a day and go Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Agreed.
I'll second that.
Also, We may want to give them ample time, though, to get the scanner machine, because I know it does take time to order it, and they're gonna have kind of things to do it, so we may want to push this out another week more than what I would want to, but why don't we go for 3 weeks from yesterday? Do we have a date on that? It'll be 3 weeks from yesterday forward. Because I do want to give them time to get the machine in place.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission.
17th? So we'll be looking at May 17th, 18th, and 19th. Okay. Are you good with that, Ryan? You got that?
So, the motion by, after several amendments, in the final analysis, the motion by Commissioner Krieger is a 3-day suspension, effective Wednesday, May 17th, through Friday, May 19th inclusive.
I apologize, I'm so sorry for interrupting. If the members of the commission, members of the commission, Mr. Chairman, if you could be so kind and pleased to allow an extra 1 week extension. We want to make sure we do this right, that we don't have any mistakes. We don't want to appear here. We certainly take this very seriously. We want to make sure we get the proper equipment an extra week. Instead of 3 weeks, just a month. I'm confident we can get the necessary equipment. Again, thank you so much.
Hold on here. I don't want you to throw a sly move on us and make it Memorial Day weekend when nobody's in the city here.
I'm
Which
I'm
I
just
have
a
a
little
feeling.
dubious. I ordered my wife's shoelaces 4 days ago, and they arrived yesterday. And I realize this is a slightly more complicated piece of machinery, but still, in this day of instant delivery.
In fact, that's exactly what you're trying to do here.
We'll pick 1 second.
It's not nice.
Is this pertaining to each of the licenses?
This is just Revolution. We still have to hear one more complaint. But the 24th, 25th, and 26th is the Friday's Memorial Day weekend. I'm not ready to do that.
Members of the commission, the last thing that we want to do is lose credibility before this commission. So how about we do it in 2 weeks? This was faster. We'll get this done. We get the scanners in there, and everybody's going to be happy. 2 weeks from now.
I'm not confident that you can get all this together in 2 weeks. Everybody feels, I'm willing to work, I'm willing to work with you, but if it doesn't work, and we send the Deputy Superintendent Webb sends a few officers over there and that thing ain't working, you'll be in front of us again and it won't be a pretty scene.
I say 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm holding it that way. May 17th, 18th, and 19th, those are the 3 days. Sorry, Counsel.
I apologize. So we can't do it on May 17th, and the reason is, and it's going to really put the whole establishment in a difficult situation. We're very happy with the resolution that we came today, and we don't want to...
What do you mean you can't?
It's on May 18th, and May 18th has been substantial investment of a huge concert. I'm sorry? Yeah, I wasn't aware of this. There's a huge concert on May 18th. We don't want to take this matter any farther than we did today. And it's a huge event. There's a lot of investment has been made if we can...
So so what you're proposing, all right, and we'd be willing to work here with you, but you're telling us in 2 weeks you are going to have this scanner system all set up.
Are you confident we can do that? 2 weeks, please.
All right. If it is not, you will be back in front of this board. Does everybody understand that?
Agreed. Wait,
Ryan. I I don't think that gives you enough time, because this could be an appealable decision. And if it's May 10th, does that give you enough time?
Well, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, if Attorney Livitz is willing to waive the right to appeal.
One second.
Just thought of that, it's not gonna happen next time.
We really appreciate Mr. Chairman and the members of the commission working with us. In light of you agreeing with us, we're willing to waive our right to appeal. If we could just do this in 2 weeks, we're confident that we'll get those scanners in 2 weeks, because we want to make sure we scan these IDs and prevent this from happening.
All right, I'm good. May 10th, 11th, and 12th, Ryan. Make sure it's noted in the notes that he will not be appealing this decision. He's going to waive his appeal. So make sure that's noted. We're going to go with May 10th, 11th, and 12th. Deputy Superintendent Webb, I want to make sure there's a member of the Lowell Police Department there on the 13th to make sure that the system is up and running.
Will do.
Thank you very much, sir.
And, Mr. Chairman, the licensee will have to surrender the liquor license for those 3 days.
Understand, counsel? Okay. All right.
Is that a vote of unanimous?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second and...
We had a second.
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who is the second?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda.
The next item on the agenda is,
The next matter is to do with the hearing on the allegations of misconduct discharged by William M. Taylor, the Superintendent of Police, in a communication to the License Commission dated April 3rd, 2017, against the LD Holdings LLC, doing business as Bar 74 Lounge and Grill, David E. Healy, manager, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 7678 Merrimack Street. And that is the first floor premises, formerly known as Mill City Suds.
Counsel, did you want to say a few words?
excuse me?
Did you want to say a few words before?
Yes, so as summarized by the secretary, the charge against LD Holdings DBA 74 Lounge, the failure to maintain order and decorum in the premises, and the failure to cooperate with Lowell police officers, and the failure to notify the Lowell License Commission of Police response. The city submits the evidence of Officer Belanger, Detective Coughlin, and I also have 2 witnesses to call. So if I could...
Before you do that, Counsel Livitz, did you want the complaint read into the record, or would you like to waive that?
We'll waive that.
Thank you very much. Yours, Counsel.
Thanks. Could I call Kathleen Bossy?
Once again, state your name for the record.
I'm Kathleen Bossy.
Thank you.
Kathleen, sorry for keeping you here so late. I want to take you back to March 24th, 2017. You had earlier tonight testified that you were in Lowell on that night, is that correct?
That is correct.
What was your, what brought you to Lowell?
My friends and I were going to Mill City on Thursday.
And so you entered Mill City, and what happened next?
I entered Mill City. I spent a couple hours there with my friend, and then I woke up in the bathroom. My friends, sorry.
When you say that you woke up in the bathroom, which bathroom are you talking about? Was it on the first floor of the building that you were in?
Yes.
At what time did you wake up?
Around 4:30.
And on what basis do you believe that it was 4:30?
I remember looking at my phone and seeing it was 4:30.
Did anyone wake you up?
No,
Was there anyone in the bathroom when you woke up?
no,
Did you see a staff person right outside the bathroom?
no.
One moment, please. So when you exited the bathroom, did you see anyone?
Yes, I took a few steps into the middle of the bar and I looked to my left and there were two males standing near the bar and I rushed past them and I exited the bar.
And did you converse with them at all?
I did. They looked at me and they laughed and they said, "Would you like a ride home?" And I said no and I exited.
So just to be clear about the venue that you were at, when you arrived in Lowell, you were headed to what you referred to as Mill City?
Yes.
And you spent some time upstairs in the upstairs portion of the establishment or in an upstairs bar room. Is that right?
Yes.
And then at some point you came downstairs?
Yes.
And you used the bathroom downstairs. How did you get into the area that had the bathroom?
I stated previously that I don't recollect this part of the night, but I was told that I exited with my friends, and upon intending to leave, I had to use the bathroom, and I approached a doorman, and he let me in, and I used the bathroom.
Now, how did you know he was a doorman? You don't, okay. Were you aware that you were at what point did you become aware that you were a missing person?
I guess when I arrived back at school and I was greeted by a police officer, and he seemed concerned.
That's all the questions I have for this witness.
Mr. Livitz? I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Any other questions? Counselor, can we just say, do you adopt all your previous testimony for the complaint for all the witnesses if you're going to bring up the same witnesses? I have the feeling that we're going to hear the same testimony.
And Mr. Chairman, I don't have any objections to that.
All right. All right. You good with that?
Yeah, that's
Counselor?
fine.
Are you good with that, Counselor?
That would be great.
All right. That's fine. And you're good with that, Counselor?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You have a seat.
Thank you.
All right. Other than the testimony from the witnesses from the first complaint, are there any other witnesses different witnesses at this time?
No, Mr. Chairman. I'm not entirely sure that I had the witnesses authenticate all of the police reports. I was wondering if opposing counsel will stipulate to these police reports being admitted into evidence.
He asked you a question.
I apologize. Can you ask that question again, please?
I'm looking to admit these police reports into evidence. Do you have any objection to that? The police reports that were attached to the letter that was sent on April 13th to LD Holdings Bar 74 Lounge and Grill.
I believe that report is, I object, but it's allowed under the commission base here, but I still
That's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Healy, would you approach your lectern, please? You said you had left the premises approximately at closing, 2 o'clock?
Approximately 2:30, sir.
2:30, okay. So the bar had been closed for a half an hour, no patrons were in your bar at that time?
Yes, sir.
All right, so at 2 o'clock, tell me exactly what your comprehensive sweep is all entails.
What we do is we make sure that the doors are locked, and we check the doors, make sure no one can get in from the outside.
Yep.
There are still people in there, DJs and stuff like that, that are taking stuff in and out, you know,
Yep.
to their vehicles. And then our security and other staff make sure that, you know, there is no one in the bathroom.
How many security, how much staff?
Well,
Would you say?
it depends on the night, but most likely we have 3 security on downstairs.
Okay,
And we have anywhere from 2 to 4 bartenders and usually 1 or 2 managers on duty.
so it's safe to say there were 8 security and staff on that Thursday night?
Yes.
Okay. So at that time, either security or your bartenders checked bathrooms at that time?
Yes.
All right. Was there any particular person that's in charge and responsibility that is, or is it kind of, I'll take this and you take that?
But basically, it falls on security.
Okay, so we have 3 security people that, is there one person that's their responsibility to
No,
check the
usually
bathroom?
they'll say, you know, I'll ask for another one of the managers, have
Okay.
the bathrooms been checked and stuff like that, and someone will, you know, signal, say, yes, I did.
Okay.
Everything's all set.
So at that night, none of the 3 security,
Excuse me?
at that night, that Thursday, the 3 security personnel that were on did not check that bathroom?
It is to my belief that they did check that bathroom.
Okay, so at what time did they check that? Do you know?
It would have been right after closing, right after all the patrons are asked to leave and everybody leaves, right around between 2 and 2:15.
All right, I don't mean to be facetious when I ask this, but you're telling me that they did check the bathroom, and at that time she was not in there and then miraculously appeared?
It is my belief that I was told that the bathrooms were checked that evening.
Come on. You're seriously telling this commission that Miss Bossy was not in that bathroom, but miraculously at 4 o'clock, she was there? You gotta do better than that. Help me out here.
I'm just telling you what I was told.
And you were told?
I was told that the bathrooms were checked that evening by...
And I am gonna say something facetious. You were told 2 days later. That ain't good either. Commissioner Krieger.
So either she was in the bathroom and they weren't thoroughly checked, or someone at the door let her back in and then forgot about her.
Yes, that's what I believed happened.
So it's either way, it doesn't look good to me.
Correct.
That she was abandoned in the bathroom by the staff. True?
No, I don't believe so.
She was let back in, and then nobody went back to make sure she came back out. She had the run of the bar if she was awake. The other problem is, if she's passed out, how do we know what condition she's in?
Correct.
I mean, you've got well, I won't go into my experiences with people, but she could have died in there.
Correct.
And you wouldn't have known that until the next afternoon, apparently. Is that right?
Correct.
Commissioner Donahue.
I think the most disturbing part of this was reading in Detective Coughlin's report, and I know Detective Coughlin's work. She's a good detective, looked into it, I'm sure, and worked with the 2 young ladies, and she can do that very well. And she's sure that she wrote in her report that that young lady was in the downstairs bathroom I don't know how I can explain it, that I was very upset with that a young lady's in a bathroom, and I hope the two young ladies have learned a lesson. And I think they were very brave in coming here tonight, and I thank them for their testimony, and I accept the truth of their testimony as well as Ms. Coughlin's. And I'm not sure what I'm going to propose, but I think this is dereliction of duty on the part of someone to leave a young lady like in her condition in a bathroom.
Commissioner McCarthy.
I agree with Commissioner Donahue. First of all, I'd like to thank the young ladies for coming tonight. You did a good job, and I believe you in what you say. I don't believe the establishment. I don't think anybody went into that bathroom and checked that bathroom out. And I think you need to take a good look at your policies and how you handle them. And Sean, you're supposed to be the security guru over there, even though you're the manager. We need to take a good look at what's going on over there. There's just too much going on in that establishment, as far as I'm concerned. And it's just not under this management, it's been for the past two managements. This place has been out of control over there. How many officers were called to the scene of this situation? You said he had backup? How many would you say, how many officers would you say showed up? Ballpark. Yeah.
Officer Belanger, right to the lectern, please. Thank you.
So my sergeant showed up. Two other officers showed up, including another officer that canvassed the area outside. So there was two of us downstairs and my sergeant and another that went to the upstairs establishment.
Okay, thank you. It's just time and time again, we have to have, police have to be called to this establishment, EMT services have to be called to this establishment, and the taxpayers should not be responsible for all this. That's all I have to say at this point.
Commissioner Howe?
I just want to make clear, the previous testimony of Mr. Healy is accepted in this complaint. You agree with that? Because I had questioned him earlier. I don't want to have to question him again.
Sure.
I just have a few comments. I agree with my current commissioners. When I read this report, I was outraged. This is a young lady who was in dire need of assistance. Her friends were pleading with the doorman, and she was left. She absolutely could have died, and you'd have a wrongful death claim against your bar, and you probably don't have adequate insurance. The sign on that bar still says Mill City Ballroom. It does not say Revolution and does not say Bar 74. And we're here saying, oh, which complaint is against which bar? The young ladies testified they were going to Mill City Ballroom. You're still holding yourself out as Mill City Ballroom. So that's a major problem. I think this complaint is egregious, and there should be a serious consequence on this one.
I do applaud the two young ladies that came here, but I'm not going to give them kudos. They were irresponsible that night, too. You got drunk. Two 19-year-old kids getting drunk. Don't even know where you are. For the record, shame on you. But I have to use, I think the word is right on the money with Commissioner Howe. In my tenure here, this is probably the most egregious complaint I've ever seen, especially as a bar owner, a previous bar owner myself. This is unconscionable. And if other commissioners don't mind, I'm going to lay down a motion.
Your Honor, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, I still would like to offer our evidence.
Absolutely, you should.
I'd like to call back Sean back up to the stand, please. So I want to clarify a few things. You actually manage Revolution, correct?
Correct.
All right. But what do you do at the end of the night?
I sweep the entire building to make sure that all safety and compliance is dealt with.
Now, you know, earlier you testified as to Revolution. Right now we're testifying as to Bar 74. And again, I want to clarify something because it's very important for my summation. We heard officer testify that there was a cleaning crew that said nobody was there in the bathroom since 3 a.m. So could you please clarify approximately when were you doing this sweep of this whole building?
It was before the cleaning crew came from the upstairs to the downstairs, so at whatever time the cleaning crew was contacted, I had already done my sweep.
No further questions. And I'd like to make my arguments here. And I'd like to say this with all due respect to all the members of the commission, Mr. Chairman. It certainly is a privilege to be here, but again, I do, as counsel from the establishment, want to say that there is due process. There's a lot of mention as to potential adequate insurance, previous things that have been ongoing, but we have to look at it as new owner and what has happened as new owner. As it stands, the 3-day suspension of abeyance was for Revolution and not Bar 74. So as we look today at the new owner and at the establishment, we have to take into consideration that on record, there has been no actual violations placed. And that's the due process. So looking at it today, if you were to decide to do something, it would be the first of its kind for the establishment as we look at it today. Next, I want to take a look at these 3 allegations here. And I'm going to start with the last two, which the second and third, because those just should be thrown out immediately. First, the second one, failure to cooperate with the Lowell police officer in violation of Rule 1.6. With all due respect, the officer came in today and stated that he spoke to the cleaning people. They assisted them, they talked to them. He mentioned that they had broken English. You know, a lot of times, and clearly hearsay is allowed here, but one of the reasons that hearsay is not allowed in the court is because things get confused and things get lost. If there was any issues as to communication, it was not due to lack of cooperation, but due to lack of English and proficiency of English. Always, all members cooperate with police. So the second claim should immediately be thrown out. Let's look at the third claim. Failure to notify the Lowell License Commissioner of a police response to the licensed premises. First of all, the manager on duty would be the Healy, and at the time when this is all happening, no one knew that these were underage minors, and they had no reason to believe so. So there would be no reason to make a report because it's not illegal to have somebody after closing in the premises as long no alcohol is being served. And that goes to the first claim, failure to maintain order and decorum. And let's take a look at what happened, because when Mr. Healy came up here, I believe there was almost disbelief as to his testimony, but let's actually look what happened. At the end of the night, when the bar is closed, alcohol is no longer served. People are leaving. There's also DJs that go in and out, that try to remove the equipment. And what you have is you have a young lady that pleads with somebody out front saying, I have to use the restroom. Now, you have to look at what's going on. Would you let a young lady who needs to use the restroom and is in dire need of using it and just let her go on her way? And again, it's not unreasonable if somebody let her in and let her in at the time after that Mr. Haley did the sweep. If we look at the time, when would the sweep be done? It would be done about 2:30, 2:15, right around the time when everybody's getting out. You could do the sweep, nobody's in the restroom, and then afterwards somebody let her in, and that's when she passed out. And then when we did another sweep suggesting that we actually complied and show order, that did a final sweep, which I credit the manager for doing that, because he came back and did another final sweep, which now was about 20 or 30 minutes after the other sweep, and found her. And how do we know the time? Because the officer himself testified. He said he spoke to the cleaning people. Now, when we look at the police report, the officer testified, and I believe it was officer, the lady was Linda Mary Coughlin, said that the young lady said it was around 4 a.m. But we actually heard what the young lady actually said. We actually got an opportunity to hear it. And what she said today, that she actually doesn't remember the time. She doesn't remember a lot. But the officer actually did his due diligence and did a good job in investigating and actually gave us a good timeline. He spoke to somebody at 4 a.m., and there was the cleaning people there. And the cleaning people said they'd been there for an hour, and that nobody's been there for an hour, which means the actual time was around 3 a.m. or prior to that too. So what's happening that initially that we're attacking the establishment, but if we actually take the time to take a look at what happened, the establishment complied with all the rules and regulations. At around 2:15, 2:30, they did their check. At some point, somebody, out of their kindness, let somebody in to use the restroom, which is not illegal, which is not a violation. No alcohol is being served at that place. And at that time, she passed out in the stall, and then you have another sweep that was performed by the manager right after that found her. And then when she found her, she was on her way. So I suggest to you, claim 2 and 3 are immediately thrown out, and claim 1 is not substantiated by officer's own testimony, and I suggest to you that no ruling should be made on the matter. I mean, certainly if you wish to request for a warning on the matter so that further measures are taken so that nobody lets somebody in to use the restroom, but again, it's not violation of the law. You're allowed to let people in to use the restroom, and there are serious privacy issues. The sweep can only be conducted at certain times, and they were conducted within a reasonable amount of times because we don't want people going into stalls when people have the right to privacy. There's serious privacy issues with regards to doing sweeps in the stalls. And while we do a quick brushstroke look at what happened, my gosh, I certainly understand, but if we look closely, no violation occurred at bar 74, and should be no action on it, and if anything...
Hold on, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
You said the first sweep happened at what time?
So Dave Healy, when he testified, if we want, we'll call him back up to the stand.
Yep, because the ladies were coming down the stairs, and there were people out on the sidewalk, so that means it had to be before 2 o'clock, because nobody would be in the establishment. So I would make sure your timeline's right here, Counselor, because there's no possible way that that sweep could have been done at that time, because she was already in the bathroom before 2 o'clock.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, my understanding is that no alcohol should be sold.
I'm saying that she was in that bathroom at 2 o'clock.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, there seems to be some disagreement over whether or not it's a violation to allow someone into the bar after hours, and I just want to bring the Commission's attention to the Lowell License Commission rules and regulations.
Excuse me for 1 second. I want an answer.
Sure.
Are you telling me that she was not in that bathroom at 2 o'clock?
Mr. Chairman, I can't testify as to her time. I'm just going by what the evidence has been presented. And what she's testified at is she's not certain what time she was there.
But you're certain that there was a sweep at 2:15?
I do not know the exact time, but we can call Mr.
You
Dave
said
Healy
you
back
said
up.
2:15. That's why I'm asking you the question.
When I did my due diligence and I investigated the case,
Yep.
I
All right,
was
we'll
to-
bring up Mr. Healy. I want to hear it then.
Sure. May I question him, or would you like to?
No, I'm going to ask a question. So what time did that sweep occur?
To the best of my knowledge, from what my employees told me, it was between 2 and 2:15.
Okay, even better. So they were all on the sidewalk, which had to be no later than 2 o'clock, because you have last call at what time? 1:30, 1:35?
1:30, the lights go on, we stop
Lights are on,
serving.
so people are moving out. Both places are completely closed at 2 o'clock. There's not a soul in sight, except for the DJ and personnel, right? She was already in that bar. She was already in that bar. There's no possible way, because there were already people on the sidewalk. There couldn't have been. There's no possible way that she could have gone in any later than that. She was already in the stall. Sure, go ahead. I want to get the true story here. Then, Ms. Bossy, I'm going to bring you, because I want to make sure I'm right, okay?
Sir, I believe that the officer in court with us today will agree with the fact that we do clear everyone out by 1:45. We shut down and everything at 1:30. But the college kids are not the best at evacuating the streets. It takes us a long time to get them off the street. I believe the police officer will fully tell you.
Stay on point, Mr. Bryan. Stay on point, please.
It is entirely possible that the college kids were still outside our bar after 2 a.m. So it is not unreasonable to think that someone may have let her in after 2 a.m., is all I wanted to say.
Okay, so when she asked the security guard to go to the bathroom,
It wasn't a security guard.
all right, who was it?
It was the DJ.
It was the DJ, okay. And then when her friends asked if anybody was in there, he said no.
Yes.
So what time was that?
That easily could have been after 2 a.m. I wasn't there. I do not know what time that was, but what I am saying is that it takes a long time to clear the streets. That could have been anywhere from 1:45 to about 2:30, because
Okay.
that's when everyone is actually cleared.
I'm good. Mrs. Bossy? Miss Bossy, up here, please. I'm not trying to drag this out, Commissioners. I just want to make sure I got a good timeline here. Tell me what time that you went to the bathroom at Bar 74.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Kelsey. Kelsey, can I call Kelsey up here with me?
Oh, sure. Why don't we all get up
I
here?
don't mean to.
I,
Did you say I wanted to?
I object to these further, I object to these further testimony of these witnesses. We have now provided some closing, some summation. I believe they already provided.
Well, this
pertinent
isn't a
testimony.
courtroom, Counselor, and I'm trying to get the right timeline to make a reasonable decision of what's going on. And I don't have that. Maybe I'm not as bright as you, but I'm not getting it right now.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure exactly what time she went into the bathroom, but I know it was after 1 o'clock.
After 1 o'clock.
Yeah, but definitely not, well, I don't want to say
Not even
definite.
remotely close to 2 o'clock. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, I would say so.
Any later than 1:30?
I would say that the latest would probably be 1:30 that she went in
All right.
there.
And she, at no later than 1:30, she asked that person to go to the bathroom, and that's where she went, right through that front door, right to the bathroom, correct?
Yes.
Right. How long did you wait before you left the area?
We were outside for about an hour and a half waiting.
So you were there
For her.
to 3 o'clock?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you, ladies, I appreciate it. So it comes to the point is, was there a sweep or not? Because we know that she was in the bathroom at that time.
Since there was additional testimony. I do
You
wanna
want
make
to
one
make a
more point,
final
Mr. Chairman.
statement, go right ahead.
And again, with all respect to the witnesses, I certainly appreciate them coming in and trying to assist this commission and making a decision. But again, there's a lot of uncertainty in their testimony. She just walked, she walked up and said, I don't remember, I don't recall. Then she says at closing time, but it's 1 o'clock, which is not the closing time. Certainly they don't remember. They're not providing consistent times. What we are is providing consistent times, that the suite was created. And it's not unreasonable to think that a DJ, looking at a young lady who wants to use the restroom and approached her in a very sweet manner to use the restroom, out of kindness of his heart, allowed her to go use the restroom.
Counselor, can I ask you something, just one question, just because I'll forget. There was a DJ out there, where was the security?
I do not know.
Where was the security?
I do not know.
Mr. Bryan, you want to answer that? Sure.
I believe that according to this time frame, the security would have already retreated into the building and was probably in the process of a sweep when our DJ let the individual in. And
A sweep at 1:30?
well, no, what I'm saying is that as we got everyone cleared out,
It seems to me is that he let her in just about when last call was coming, and they probably weren't letting anybody in, or?
absolutely not. The testimony that it was 1 or 1:30
Yeah.
is wrong. Why was everyone on the street if it was 1:30? It takes us about 15 minutes to clear the bars.
Do you think there was
Their timeline is just incorrect.
So you don't think she was in the stall at 2:15, do you?
I think that according to the timeline, that sounds like about when she was let in. So I think that the sweep was performed, and then she was let in by the DJ, and then she fell asleep, and about an hour later, I found her on my final sweep. We did our diligence. We did find the individual. We did not leave her in the bathroom or in our establishment. we did take care of it. It just was an hour before the second sweep, and she was let in between sweeps.
All the witnesses say, though, was no later than 1:30.
How is the witness's testimony credible when they don't really know what happened? They have a very fuzzy recollection of
Yeah,
this.
you better slow down here a little bit.
My apologies.
I just have 2 quick points to make, Mr. Chairman. First, it is a violation to let someone in after hours.
Right.
It's against our regulations.
Right,
And second,
2 o'clock. You can't let anybody in up to 2 o'clock,
that's right.
period.
It's section 4.02, hours of operation. Not allowed to let people in after closing. Second, the real concern is that her friends were outside, as we heard, telling the staff at this establishment that their friend was inside to go and went to the bathroom. And they did nothing to rectify that situation.
Okay.
I think we've had more than enough testimony to judge the credibility of these witnesses.
Agreed. Any final comments, Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah, the fact that she was let back in violation of our rules isn't a big deal to me. There's someone in distress, they're trying to help her, that's a good deed. The fact that they lost track of her, that's a problem.
Commissioner Donahue.
Counsel, as to your argument on number 3, failing to notify the License Commission, if there were 4 police officers called to that building at approximately 4:30 and had to do a sweep of the whole building, that's not significant to notify the License Commission?
I think that's an excellent question, and I want to again point out that when this occurred, the cleaning people were there, and they interacted with the cleaning people and not the staff. So the information that was gathered was by somebody completely unrelated to the people that work at Bar 74. And I also want to phrase that it seems that she was let in testimony prior to 2, so not in violation. And we're not sure with the times, because we know at the latest it would be an hour, because the cleaning crew specifically said that there was nobody there since 3, and the officer confirmed it. So, I mean, we don't know the exact times, but we do know that she was found. I mean, there's a lot of speculation going on here. Someone is left, unattended. That's not the key. Somebody went in to use the restroom. And at some point, somebody came in and found them in the restroom. And again, there's a lot of privacy issues to the restroom. The bar did its job. It's not that far-fetched that, people come in and a sweep is done, and they came in right after the sweep. And then there was another sweep conducted thereafter. The individual was found, and the individual left. The police arrived, spoke to the cleaning crew. The cleaning crew said, nope, nobody's been here since 3 a.m., so we know everybody was out of there before 3 a.m. So the establishment got everybody out. The sweep was done. There was no reason for the cleaning crew to communicate to the Bar 74. So again, I state that if she was let in before 2 o'clock, there was no violation. No violation occurred. And simply just speculating how often should a sweep occur, the sweep did occur. She was found, and she was on her way. And I mean, they did their job. I suggest to you, no violation occurred.
Any further comments? Commissioner Krieger, you have anything further?
No, I'd like to make a motion of the 3 items here. The first and third strike me as the most serious. I move that we go with the 5-day suspension.
Do I have a second on the floor? Seconded by Commissioner Howe. Roll call. Yes.
Yes.
No.
The motion passes. Commissioner Krieger, you have any favorable dates, or would you like the chairman to make it?
Over to you.
So there was a vote taken by the commission, and it was for a 5-day suspension for all 3 violations.
No, I want to be exact with this. This was for complaint number 1 and number 3. Commissioner Krieger brought up a good point. I'd like to throw out complaint number 2 for failure to cooperate with a police officer. We're not going to, there's nothing on that.
So it's just number 1 and number 3?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that's a 5-day suspension, 3 yeas, 2 nays.
All days served. May 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. Next on the agenda.
I move we adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner
I
McCarthy.
apologize.
All in favor signify by saying.
Mr. Chairman, I
All
apologize.
opposed. Motion,
Uh,
meeting is canceled. Meeting is closed.
Terry. Too much or too little?